Hi everyone, it's Jerusha, and today is Monday, December 19th, and it's in the evening at 6:44 p.m. For those of you who have been paying attention and following along with my situation, I survived today. Today was my day in court, and it got set over, which means they didn't have enough time to deal with our case today. But I showed up, and I've said before, a lot, at least half the battle, but probably sometimes more than that, I would argue. Half the battle is showing up. So it doesn't even matter how confident you feel in yourself. If you show up, you are going to be further ahead than if you don't show up. And that's the case literally in a lot of situations. But it also is the case just throughout other... I don't know where I was going with that, but half the battle is showing up, at least half the battle. And I will argue that it's more than that. So everybody that's been praying and believes in prayer, I appreciate it. I have had a lot of people reaching out to me. I've reached out to a lot of people and asking for prayer and asking for people's thoughts to just be on me today. And I think it worked. And for me, I'm a scientific person, so when I'm asking for prayer, I'm thinking about it in a way of like, what explains how prayer works, how it really works? Well, for me, what I'm thinking right now, I don't want to devalue God, never want to do that, but I'm scientific. So for me, reaching out to people is a big thing. I have been isolated lots of different times in my life, very, just kind of private person, having the ADHD, social anxiety that often goes with the ADHD that I've mentioned before, especially for women with ADHD, being afraid you're going to say the wrong thing and all that and regret it and feel like a fool and people will be offended because it doesn't come out right. Well, all those different things contribute to social anxiety for people, especially women that have ADHD. But also I think men as well, some. So for me, reaching out to people and sharing my story and figuring out how to break it down, to tell and communicate about it, that was a big process for me. And that really helped. And then reaching out and asking with humbleness, humility and humbleness, if you believe in prayer, please pray for me. It hasn't been time all my life where I have felt like I wanted to ask people to pray for me. I didn't believe in prayer, or I felt offended if people would say, I'm praying for you, because I didn't believe in it. And it felt offensive to me. Felt like they were sort of trying to take over, say I can't handle it myself, stuff like that, various ways I would get offended by it. But I think as I've gotten older, recently I've started to realize, prayer is there, God is there, Jesus is there, church is there for various reasons for various people. And my church that I just started going to, Central Lutheran in Portland, Oregon, is a pretty on the liberal side of church. Now, they're not liberal in the way that the Unitarian Universalist churches are. This is a very religious church. This isn't about learning about every single other religion in the world. This is Christian. This is a Christian church, which I like, actually. And so I went to a gathering over this past summer. It was only after going to the church once, and this woman just was doing a benefit kind of fundraiser thing at her luncheon at her place near the Sandy River that she had just bought recently. And so I and my good friend who's a Christian longer than me, went to it. And the people that were at that luncheon, we talked to each other, and almost all of them, I'm pretty sure all of them were older than me, but they were from various religious backgrounds. So yes, they did go to this church, the Central Lutheran Church, but they were from all different, Episcopal and some other one that starts with an E type church. There were some that were Catholics. But they all go to this church now, or at some point had gone to the church. And a lot of them were also ex-clergy or clergy from various churches. So it was a great opportunity to talk to people who go to a Christian church and that believe in it and also are seeing it from somewhat of an intellectual, somewhat of an academic way of thinking about it. That was good for me. That was good modeling for me, because my ideas about church and religion and God and Christian churches and Christian religion have needed to evolve in order for me to accept it. And so this is great, this church, because they do a lot of what's called liturgy. Liturgy is, I'm not going to be the best describer of this because I haven't looked it up on Google, but it means like, there's like a program that you go through each time you're going to church. They have it there, and then you do some singing, some songs, some readings. They do, and there you can follow along. And then there's the structure is there on this pamphlet that you get, and the liturgy is stuff like the pastor or whoever is leading the part that you're doing will say something, and then they might say, "May God be with you," and then the rest of us, the congregation, is to say something like, "and also with you." And it's like some people really don't like that. And I could see that I might not like it in the past, but I feel like it really pulls inside me, like my soul. I feel it like really in my spirit. It's not just the participation aspect of it where you're really involved by just following along and but it feels like it does more for me than that. So it's called liturgy, and some churches have more of that than others. And some people really don't like it. And it's possible that the Catholic Church has a lot of liturgy. I'm not sure, but it's probably in a different way. Every single Sunday we do communion, which I didn't know that. I never did communion anywhere except for in a Catholic church when I was visiting. So we do communion every single Sunday. And this past Sunday, I brought my son along, and I brought him up, and I asked for them to just get a little blessing. The pastor of this church is a woman, younger woman. She's a little bit older than me, but she's a lovely woman. Very, she's not overly outgoing. She's just kind of neutral in the middle, but she's got just this wonderful way of bringing real life in to her sermons, and feels like a really good feeling. And I've never had a female pastor before, so it's exciting for me. When I was brought up, we were like German Baptist with some of the family members. Like my closer generations have been German Baptist, also some Dunker Brethren, some Pentecostals even in my close relatives that I came from. And they, what was my point? My point was, I just remembered it after I rewound a little bit. That in the churches that I was brought up in from my family, my parents and their parents, it was considered to be not okay for a female, a woman, to be a pastor. So I remember talking with my mom when I was younger. I definitely remember when I was like 12 or 13. I told her that I might want to be a pastor. And we weren't going to a church regularly. We hadn't found one that we went to regularly, that my family felt like they agreed with everything, basically, enough to take us. So we did talk about Jesus and like the stories of the Bible, and I went to Vacation Bible School every summer at a nearby church that was actually kind of on the Brethren side of it. When you think Brethren, okay, it's a type of Mennonite. Okay, they don't all wear like the bonnets and the head coverings. There's variations of it, by the way. And they're not the same as Amish. Brethren and Amish are very different. But anyway, so I was told by my mom, we do not believe that women can be a leader in the church of the flock or the whole congregation. I guess a woman could be like maybe a Sunday school teacher or some kind of leader in that way, or of the women's worship kind of specific, but not leader of the whole church. So being a pastor or a minister was considered a sin, as told to me by my mother. And being a leader, a female leader in a church, was considered to be not okay. So that really discouraged me. I think that was one of the last things in my learning about the religion of my most recent ancestors, most recent ones, that really turned me off, because I felt like I was really being drawn to be some kind of a leader, spiritually or psychology, like helping people through life, things like that. And I really couldn't, that was really hard for me to take, that I might be feeling called to be a leader possibly, and not be, and be told that it's absolutely not okay with God in my mom's mind, and her relatives, her sisters and brothers. That was just how they believed. So that was one of the things that was really hard for me. So it's cool that this church has a female pastor, and they did the one before this as well, because this pastor's been there for about 5 years. The one before this one was also a female. So I don't really know where it comes from. Like, I don't know why. I'm not sure exactly why they have females. I haven't been to a lot of churches in general, so I have never had a female pastor before. Any church that I visited, like with friends. So that's what I want to say, is me being involved in church and like in the Christian way of like participating about talking about Jesus, not just God, not just gods and goddesses, but actually talking about Jesus as a way of sort of symbol, like sort of condensing our thoughts about God. Even though I believe, God is probably all a mixture of gender. I don't think that it's just a male. But I'm not going to get hung up on that. So having a female pastor is totally great and awesome. I'm so excited about it. And so I think that's what I want to share with you, is that I am fine. Everything went fine today in court. And I showed up. And that was the most important part. I showed up. I didn't have a heart attack. I didn't die of nervousness. And it was scary. It was definitely scary. So I'm going to be fine and things are going to work out. But there's more continuation of this hearing stuff, business, this whole hearing court business, legal stuff. But today was the first time for me. So everything's fine. I can't wait to fill you all in later on the specifics. But for now, the kids are doing well. All the kids, as far as I know, are doing well. The women are all doing well, as far as I know. All of the women in the family are doing well. And I'm doing okay too. It's a little bit lonely around here, but I can get used to it. I spent a lot of time by myself my whole life, my childhood, I spent a lot of time by myself because we lived way out in the country and we didn't have close neighbors, and my parents were kind of, I'm not going to say antisocial because that kind of tends to mean sociopathic. No, my parents weren't sociopathic. My parents were just kind of shy and they didn't trust people a lot. And so they just were kind of suspicious of the outside world. And so we, as kids, didn't have a lot of social contact, especially during the summer vacation when school was not in. They didn't really let us like hang out with kids all the time, every single day. So that was hard. So I have spent a lot of time alone, but I have been really enjoying reaching out to people and various levels of reaching out to people, getting closer to some people, being just like on the perimeter of other people, and of course going to church or around people. And you don't have to be all like best friends with every single person you meet, but it is nice to not be alone. It's nice to have people around you and interacting. So I'm proud of myself. That's what I'm saying. All right, you guys, take care, and I will see you later. And how do you like my dreadlocks? Yeah, I'm wearing them down right now. My mom said she likes it down. I had to put them back in a ponytail for court because my attorney told me I needed to wear it in a low ponytail at the nape of my neck for court. And I'm putting it back in a ponytail. And my mom's like, why are you doing that? It doesn't look as good. I'm like, because I've been told I have to be dressing exactly a certain way, have my hair exactly a certain way. And she's like, oh, okay. Because my mom said that she liked my hair down like this. My mom. And she and I don't go to the same church, by the way, in case you were wondering. She goes to a way more fundamentalist, evangelical type church. Maybe someday she'll come to the Lutheran Church with me and my friend, because that will be so cool. But I have a feeling that she's not ready for it yet. She likes a more Pentecostal style of church. And I'm not comfortable with that type of church. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe someday she'll come and she'll just see how it is. And that'll be cool. All right. Take care. Have a nice Monday evening or whatever day it is right now for you, because you might be watching this in the future. And today is Monday, December 19th, 2016. All right. Take care. Bye.